Bobby Lashley and MVP, they're leaving WWE. Expected to go to AEW, and in this video I'm going to tell you why they're making a big mistake. Because MVP, Bobby Lashley, they're interesting guys. First of all, MVP has not been on WWE television in over a year. Yeah, over a year. Recently, he's just been the manager of Omos, right? Omos, who also has not appeared on television in multiple months. Instead, he had been just working house shows, squashing just various jobbers, right? Because they were just trying to get him reps. But now his future's up in the air because they're not running many house shows anymore. So it's like, well, what do you do with him? Bobby Lashley is a guy that is just now a utility player. Just a few years ago, he was the WWE champion. However, as this man gets older into his 40s, he is not used the same as he once was. Well, what is the difference between now and then? Well, then it was Vince McMahon in charge of creative. Now Triple H is in charge of creative. And clearly Triple H does not see the exact same thing that Vinnie Mac did, right? Now look, MVP, Bobby Lashley, why are they a unit? Why is it so important that they stayed together? First of all, they're really good friends outside of the ring. Secondly, they formed the Hurt Business alongside Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin during the pandemic era. This was a very, very interesting faction, a fun faction in that. And they had a ton of success. It initially started off with MVP just being the manager of Bobby Lashley, Lashley becoming WWE champion. They were one of the highlights of the pandemic era. It was a faction that a lot of fans, including myself, were high on. But they were cut short. During their time together, in addition to the success in which Bobby Lashley had on a singles level, you also had Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Now, they held the tag team titles on Monday Night Raw during this time period. It was a really fun faction. However, Vince McMahon decided that he was going to split it up, and that was a controversial move at the time. And in a large way, it still is. Fans are still talking about the group and how they should have not been broken up so soon. They did reform it at one point, but it wasn't the same, nor did it even last anywhere near as long as the original run. Since then, Bobby Lashley, he had an alliance with the Street Profits, but it never really got over. They haven't done much with him since. I've already touched on MVP. Cedric Alexander, he was not used a lot on television, and now he's in NXT. And Shelton Benjamin, well, he was previously released and hasn't done anything since then. He's talked about how he's open to going to AEW, that they've had talks, but it never really went anywhere. He also didn't rule out a return. Now, it was reported by Dave Meltzer after it was reported by PWN and Fightful that Bobby Lashley's WWE contract is slated to expire soon. Now, Uncle Dave Meltzer notes on Wrestling Observer Radio that the belief is MVP and Bobby Lashley, they are leaving WWE with the likelihood that they land in AEW. Even if they don't go to AEW, they are planning to reform the Hurt Business. Now, there's a few problems with this. And that leads us to today's video. One, you're not going to have the full Hurt Business because Cedric Alexander is still with WWE unless he can get out of his deal. There's no indication that he is planning to get out of his deal or if the company would even let him out of his deal. So we're not getting the full Hurt Business. Also, they'd have to get the trademark rights. It's possible that MVP, he's been able to acquire them. We just don't know that yet. Maybe paperwork is still being filed. I don't know. Now, do I think Bobby Lashley fits in AEW? No. Do I think MVP fits in AEW? Heck no. However, do I think that they will end up in AEW? Yes. Yes. Here's why. Tony Khan has the reputation, and history has shown us that he is willing to pay big money for talent. Whether or not you think they would be able to draw money for you, he will sign them. He signs a lot of former WWE guys. He signs a lot of talent just in general. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to make big waves. It just means Tony's going to sign them, right? They're going to go to AEW, and it's a mistake. Here's why. You're not going to get, even if you get to use the Hurt Business name, it's not going to be the same because we're not in 2020, we're not in WWE, and they're not going to be pushed as a top act. There's not. They're older guys. They're closer to 50 than they are 30. That's just the reality of the situation. It's also going to come off as WWE Light. Why are we doing that? You're supposed to be an alternative. Also, I don't think you're going to get the same group. You're not going to get the same group. So are you going to add a guy? Or are you going to have 3 guys? Either way, it's not going to be the same group. There's so many reasons as to why you should not try to reform the Hurt Business in AEW. I also could make the argument that there's no reason to leave WWE if you're Bobby Lashley. Why are you going to AEW? Is it because of more money? Maybe. Maybe he can get more money, but is it that much more? Is it the schedule? Well, WWE, they've cut back tremendously on its touring schedule. They've cut tremendously back on the live events. So for the most part, you're just working TVs. You're working 1-2 days a week. Why are we leaving WWE when you're almost 50? Look at Nakamura. That man is cashing checks. He doesn't care. You want to book me? Great. You don't? I'm going to go surf. Look at Okada. He's in AEW. He's just cashing checks. I can see why the appeal of a new company would be there for them, but I still think it's a mistake. But hey, they're going to do what they're going to do. WrestleStar fam, a few news and notes here. First of all, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you are notified every single time we upload new wrestling content here to the channel. Also, if you would like to further support the channel and my family, please consider dropping some money on a membership, subscribing to that. You'll get additional content. There's a bunch of awesome perks out there, including members-only videos, which I highly recommend you go and check out. Also, if you are looking for some sweet pro wrestling merch, down in the description below, I have a link with some 2 sweet promo codes, including free shipping. All that information down in the description below. Thank you so much for changing my life, my family's life, and supporting the channel. And I will see y'all in the next video.